You know, the best of the best touring professionals only hit 13 and a half greens on the average out of 18, so they're missing 4 to 5 greens around. A 10 handicapper statistically only averages hitting 3 greens on 18 holes in regulation. So even as a golf professional, to miss this green from 160 yards is not that disappointing, especially with the type of things I've practiced down through the years. The first thing I've worked on is making sure that I very seldom miss a putt inside 6 feet. That gives me a 12-foot circle in which to chip or pitch the golf ball. And most of the time, anywhere from inside 50 to 75 yards, I'm going to get the ball inside that 12-foot circle. As a result of that, the pressure of the chipping has been taken off of me. Because there's no pressure chipping, I also have no pressure hitting this golf shot to the green, because I really don't care whether I hit it or not. As much as I want to hit it, it's not a big deal. I'm not going to panic because I've missed a green. I'm still going to get my par, maybe even a birdie. Probably one of the most common things I'm approached with, I've had this for over 30 years. Man walks up to me or calls me on the phone and says, "Darrell, I've got to have a lesson." I ask him what's the matter. He tells me I'm hitting my driver all over the fairway. I can't keep a ball in play. And I ask him what he's shooting. He's shooting between 102 to 110 every time he goes out. And he says, if I can just keep the ball down the middle with my tee shot, I know I can start breaking 100. You have no idea what goes through my mind when I hear that, because the first thing I ask them every time is, how's your putting? And how's your chipping? And they look at me with the funniest look. I ask them if they ever 3-putt. Well, yeah, occasionally. I said, well, how many times around? Oh, 6 or 8 times, 10 at the most, something like that. If I take those 3 putts and eliminate them and have nothing more than a 2-putt, this man's breaking 100 and he's never broken 100 in his life. And he wants a lesson on a driver, and what he really needs to do is learn to get his chip shots up closer to the hole so he stops his 3-putting. We're going to look at some shots now that will help your game to make some tremendous improvement. All right, we're talking about the backspin and how we're going to get that to happen. We're not going to have the backspin that we want in a golf shot if we continue to take short back swings and long through swings. We have got to be able to get the golf club to go farther back than through. People seem to constantly confuse follow through with finish. And the motion here is not a follow through, folks. This is a finish. The follow through is here. We're completed for this swing. So we want to get the golf club back and through, back and through. In doing this, when I take a setup position here for this shot, I'm going to set my weight. Now remember, we want backward spin. In order to achieve a backward spin on the golf ball, I have to take the arc of the swing and get the very bottom of that arc that brushes the grass and skips off of the dirt. I don't need to take a divot, but I want to skip off the dirt itself. I need to get that portion of my swing to be just beyond the golf ball, beyond the center of the ball. It's got to strike the back of the ball and then brush the dirt. In order to do that, the number one thing I'm going to do is when I stand, I'm going to keep the ball center to slightly back in my stance. Number two, I'm going to put my weight in my front hip and in my front foot very solid. I probably have 80% at least of my weight in this front hip and foot. Very little back here. Now, when we do that, that allows us to feel like I don't want to lean my head past the ball. I want to just let my hip sit over into the front. Now, when I do that, that lets me have a better chance of getting my hands up by my front thigh. So what we want to make sure of is when we set our weight into the left and into a stable position, that we move our hands then also into this left side position. We have a relatively straight line down this left side. It doesn't have to be rigid and perfect. Let your arms hang and be relaxed, but keep your hands ahead. Now, as soon as I do this, everything is going to be falling from this shoulder down beyond the golf ball, so I can strike downward on the shot. Now, it's very important when we get here You see where my golf club is? My golf club is still in the grass. The average golfer has his club already up here. Now I want to keep this golf club down in the grass or very close to it and have my shaft, very important, keep this shaft pointing past your left side of your body. A good drill to get a feeling for the golf swing is to get close to a tree or in the house next to a wall and learn what it feels like to get your entire golf club here down with the left arm staying on the body. We don't want to be off. This is a major error. With the left arm off the body, we've got to keep the left arm on the chest and rib cage and keep the club low, the club head low to the ground, and keep the shaft of the club pointing outside of our body. Most people I see are always here. I tell my students quite often that if this were a shotgun loaded and it's going to go off at impact, you really don't want to hurt yourself. Because what happens all the time, golfers are trying to flip this club out here and scoop the ball up and forward. We've lost all of our solid left side radius and axis point. We don't have a chance. Down, 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 and solid. I'm going to put an extra ball here so you can see where my club finishes in relation to the shot. Now we're nice and low when we finish. I've got the club still pointing left, and I've let the club come down beyond the golf ball. This creates the backward spin. It gets the ball scooted out onto the green, so we're going to get a consistent type of release on the roll. That is extremely important. I want to know how far my ball is going to roll so I can leave it close to the tip.